It's 2021, and many people started taking virtual piano lessons for the very first time last year. And it looks like this trend is going to be sticking around for a little while, and in the future, it may be the best option for some students. I'm Karen Rock, and this is my channel, Karen Rock Music. I've been teaching music in the public schools for the last 35 years and also teaching piano lessons out of my home. Like many other piano teachers, this year I started teaching Zoom lessons, and I also taught through Google Classroom in the public schools. So I gained a lot of knowledge about teaching lessons online. Here's what I learned this year about teaching virtually versus in person. First, let's start by talking about virtual lessons. Virtual lessons can be very successful, but every student is different and every teacher is different. So here are some things to think about if you're considering taking virtual piano lessons. It's important to have a quiet space and a quiet time for your lesson. Small children and animals can often be a distraction, so having them occupied in a different space is very helpful. If the student is a child and a beginner, it's really crucial that the parent be there and listening to what's going on in the lesson. The parent does not need to sit with the child on the bench, but they should be in the room and ready to jump in if the teacher needs them to. Camera angle. Camera angle is key. It's really important that the teacher is able to see the student's hands on the keys, and less important that they actually see the person's face while they're playing. So if you have a sideways angle, that really works well. And then when the student is done playing, they can turn their body towards the camera and talk to the teacher. Experiment with camera angles. Ask your teacher, can you see what you need to see? Finally, is your teacher tech savvy? Are they able to teach effectively online? It's really important to have someone as a teacher who understands technology, who understands issues with technology, and also has a good setup. My personal setup is that I have a camera on me, and then I also have a camera that's directly facing the keys. So when a student is in their lesson, they can put on the gallery view and they can see me twice, once facing them and another view with me at the keys. There are lots of technical challenges with teaching online, and it's up to you to decide whether your teacher is able to handle those technical challenges effectively. Now let's talk about in-person lessons. During a pandemic, in-person lessons are possible, but can be tricky. And as long as your teacher follows certain protocols and everyone feels safe, there's no reason why you can't do in-person lessons. Here are my protocols. First, I wear a mask, the student wears a mask. They may have one family member with them, and that family member also wears a mask and sits far away from the piano, the student, and me. The piano keys are sanitized between each lesson, and there's a 30-minute window between each lesson where I air out the room, and if possible, I even open the windows. I use a separate keyboard to demonstrate. So I have my own keyboard and the piano student plays on my piano. During the lesson, I stay 6 feet away from the student as much as possible, but occasionally I do need to come closer to the student in order to demonstrate certain techniques or point things out in their music. I don't touch their music. I have my own copy of my music, and my student must bring their own pencil and use their own pencil during the lesson. If you're watching this video during the pandemic and your teacher is teaching in-person lessons, they should be using protocols similar to these. You should feel safe in your lesson, and if you're not feeling safe in your lesson, please talk to your teacher about that. During normal non-pandemic times, it is very advantageous to have in-person lessons. The big advantage is that you get the tactile experience that you can't get just through a camera. Things like practicing rhythms, clapping and saying rhythms, also performing together, doing duets together. That's nearly impossible when you're doing it on a camera. The other advantage of taking lessons in person is that the connection between the student and teacher then becomes more personal and also is stronger. Although we've made great strides in technology, there are limits to what it can do, and it cannot fully replicate the in-person connection that you can get between a student and a teacher. In conclusion, I think that online lessons are a great temporary solution to a problem like a pandemic, or could be transportation issues or distance issues. So in the future, online lessons could be an option for some students some of the time. However, nothing fully replicates an in-person lesson, so I highly recommend taking in-person lessons whenever possible. I hope that information helps. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you again soon at the piano.